Hello there, welcome to this channel. My name is Victoria and I like talking about practicing law and universal laws in this office. You're very welcome here to join me and discuss the topic of immigration and immigration, especially during the first quarter of that journey in your life. So in terms of the structure for today's video series, just like my others, part 1, which is this video, will be all about the facts. What do I actually mean when I say first quarter of immigration? And that will be followed by some universal laws that are applied. Part 2, which will be a separate video, will be all about the application of universal laws and some practical tips about how you can actually practice love during the first quarter of your immigration. And part 3 will be a video on some advice, outcome, next steps, something for you to think about, and some departing, wrapping up thoughts. So grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a glass of water. I've got the blood orange tea with me here today, and we will jump straight into the subject matter of today's video series. So the facts, right? So what am I talking about? So the video series is focused on immigration as compared to migration. So immigration is when you actually go traveling and you are relocating your whole livelihood to another country, i.e. you cross the borders, you're going overseas perhaps. Now my target audience is the adult, that is the immigrant, not the people who are accepting immigrants or the community. So I am really talking about, the two people who have just immigrated and are going through the first, 3 months of their journey as an immigrant. So if you're about to be that person, or you're that person, or you know somebody who is immigrating, just share this link to them because they might find it helpful. Now, why do I want to talk about this particular video series at this time? Well, I have noted that a lot of people are actually on the move all around the world. Now, I don't have any particular statistics, but anecdotally, having the conversations that I've had even amongst my community, I can see that people are traveling, people are relocating for a number of reasons. And some of those include the cost of living crisis that is quite global. People are finding it financially difficult to remain in their current place of residency, and so they're deciding to find new opportunities elsewhere. Now, the other reason is obviously conflicts around the world, wars. The war in Ukraine is an example. There's obviously a conflict that has been on the news between China and Taiwan. If you look actually at the map of conflicts that you can Google, there's a lot of unrest and instability in Middle East as well. As always, there's always some kind of issues, but it seems to have really bubbled up in the recent times. Central to East Africa, just some hot zones around there at this point in time. So if you think about it, any kind of conflict or war definitely forces you to go elsewhere, to another place. And if you think about the people of Ukraine in particular, well, given what has happened to them in early 2022, a lot of them have had to literally grab their bags, whatever was on their back, and run, immigrate as swiftly as possible. Another reason for why some people might be immigrating is the natural disasters and extreme weather that we have noticed more recently, but in 2023 in particular. Some thoughts I had was about the Turkey earthquake, cyclones, a lot of cyclones and flooding all around the world, so much water. Think about Italy as an example, or here in New Zealand we've had some significant flooding that you may have heard of. Wildfires in Canada have been on the news, and then a few other examples like the ice storms in the United States, or the heat waves that are tackling and going through Asia. So yeah, planet Earth is doing her thing, and we'll be talking about planet Earth shortly, but natural disasters and extreme weather will definitely make you consider where you actually want to live and reside. Now, a couple of other reasons why people might want to move at this point in time. Think about us as being, 3 years since COVID outbreak, right? It's the post-COVID society, so you might just feel like you need to get out of the place where you were literally locked down for quite a period of time, right? A lot of jurisdictions all around the world have, imposed lockdowns, and so you have had to stay in your home, in your local community, in your town, in your city, wherever you might be for quite some time, and you may feel that after such a prolonged period of time, you simply need to get out, have that bit of freedom. Now, what else? On a spiritual level, there might be some of you who have felt the calling to actually go back to visit or fully relocate to your country of birth. You may have spent your childhood there, or you were actually born there, so just reminiscing on the past, on those early years of your life, and perhaps your spirit is calling you to go back there. That was one reason for immigration. And finally, a sense of adventure as well, right? There might be some of you who are just like, right, I'm just going on an adventure. I'll be, Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit, where he's got the contract in his hand running and saying, I'm going on an adventure. That might be you, and if so, well done you. Hey, feel free to comment down below, if any of those reasons resonate with you in terms of why you immigrated, or if there's any other particular reason that may have actually made you move. So something that just popped into my head, no doubt from some divine messages coming through. It's family, so reasons of family. Something may have happened within your family dynamic that has caused you to move. Just thinking perhaps maybe even a death in the family, or illness, or a sick parent as an example, or sick grandparents. You may have had to move literally to actually take care of your family, so that might be another reason. So some of the universal laws that are at play, and we'll talk briefly about each one of these. So the cycle, and the first one that comes to me, the cycle and the timing cycle of things, and why I picked the quarter, 3 months, 12 weeks period of time. Something I've noticed is that in a 12-week period, you start off going up, everything is going up, and you're well and happy and positive, and then things keep coming down really, really quickly, and sometimes you hit the really low rock bottom around week 6 or week 7. Your emotions might be down, feeling low, and then things really start improving straight after and go steadily up and up and up once you get a little bit of clarity as to, some of the steps that you need to take next. And then things speed up a little bit and you go up and up and up. So there's a cycle and timing cycle as to any kind of process of immigration. And in the first quarter you might be in that kind of cycle. You might be experiencing that yourself, and so comment down below which part of the cycle you might be at the moment, what you're feeling, what's resonating with you, or if that rings true or not at all. And the second universal law is that we are all residents of planet Earth, Gaia, the Divine Mother, and if you think about it, your ability to relocate is your birthright, because you're actually free to be wherever you want to be, because we're all residents of planet Earth, and so you have the right to go wherever you want to go. And Divine Mother, our planet Earth, she knows what she's doing. On an individual level, in the collective, she might be encouraging you to relocate and move to a different place, just because it's the right thing to do. She's doing things for her own highest good and for your highest good as well. So trust in the planet to do exactly what she needs to be doing at the relevant time. She's got the knowledge. And ultimately, freedom of choice. It's your inherent right, given that you incarnated on planet Earth, to actually have that freedom to do whatever it is that you wish. And ultimately, it's your own choice as to having immigrated, to a place where you're at. And look, if you think about it, prior to coming into this lifetime, think about it as it's a significant milestone, right? Relocation is actually a really significant milestone in one's life. So you may have actually pre-planned this, and this might be just your divine journey for you in this particular lifetime. So you may actually be answering the call of your spirit that, hey, you know, the spirit might be looking at the time of your life and saying, you know, it's time to go. So you may have actually immigrated because of that. But ultimately, look, it's your choice to have done so, and you have the freedom of choice to do so. And, you know, well done you for having taken such a brave and courageous decision to relocate, you know, with the hope and the leap of faith that things will get better, you know, in a new place that you will be residing. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention actually, before we wrap up and jump into part 2, just specifically about, you know, just a bit more about planet Earth, the universal law about the fact that we are all residents of planet Earth, and you have the freedom to actually travel, freedom of movement to wherever you'd like. You know, some of the reasons I mentioned earlier on, you know, think about specifically about the natural disasters and the extreme weather, or the fact that we're a post-COVID society at the moment, you know, and COVID was such a huge event, a global event that has really made us all stop for a particular moment in time and be locked down by ourselves or with our family members for, you know, quite a prolonged period of time. All those sorts of events, if they were the reason why you decided to immigrate, well, think about it, try and think about it from like a higher good perspective or positive perspective, and trust in the fact that planet Earth, you know, she may have come up, she may have concocted those sorts of events for the highest good for herself and for the collective as a whole. So, you know, it might be, you know, it might be something that resonates with you, and hope you can see it that way as well. So let's jump straight into part 2, the application part. I'll see you shortly.